Hello everyone, welcome back to our channel. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening. I greet you all according to your time and locations you'll be meeting this video. Yes, my dear viewers, I am back again with another update. So guys, I have a video here I would like we all to watch. But before then, if you're meeting my channel for the very first time, you're highly welcome. Please kindly do well to like, share and subscribe. Leave your thought on the comment section. Let us know what you think about this video, and I will see you towards the end.
Joining us now on the morning show to discuss the decision of Ecowas and what to expect in the coming days is Professor Bolaji Akinyemi, Nigeria's former Minister of Foreign Affairs. Good morning, Professor Akinyemi, and welcome to the morning show.
Good morning, Niger. Good morning, Dr. Abati. And good morning, Rufai.
Morning, Prof. Good to see you again. Bless you, sir.
Morning, sir. Well, quickly, Prof. Adeso Amorua was saying Niger's future hangs in the balance. And now, in addition to that, Ecowas has imposed sanctions, the same way Ecowas did in Mali, in Guinea-Conakry, and Burkina Faso. Any hope that these sanctions will work this time around, other than imposing more hardship on the poor people of Niger?
Thank you for inviting me to be on your platform this morning. Earlier on, I had listened to your very robust conversation, as you call it, on the Nigerian crisis. And I tried very much to distill what she said and what do you stand for. Are you for military intervention or you are against military intervention? And at the end of your debate or your conversation, I really couldn't draw any concrete conclusion as to where Arise Money Show stands. And it reminds me of the debate once in the House of Commons on whether they should ban whiskey or not. Winston Churchill was the Prime Minister. And as usual, he's spoken on both sides of the debate. So finally, the leader of opposition tried to pin him down. Prime Minister Winston, are you for banning whiskey or not? And Churchill replied, if by whiskey you mean that drink on which we impose taxes, value-added tax, excise duty, and the money we make from it allows us to provide milk for young children, put money in NHS, support the social welfare program in Britain, then I am for whiskey. But if by whiskey you made that drink that drives a man to the gutters, that he forgets his way home, then I am against whiskey. So, the issue is, we are faced now with a corner. Where do we stand on the issue of military intervention? Now, let me tease out a few of the complications on this matter. Once President Tinubu said in Guinea-Bissau that the parameters of his leadership in Ecowas, and by implication the parameters of his foreign policy, was going to be anti-coup, anti-terrorism. And when he got to Nairobi, he included pro-democracy. I knew sooner or later somebody was going to challenge him, because he's drawn the line in the sand and he's made it so definitive. But I must confess, unlike some of the experts who have said they were expecting it, I must confess I was not expecting that the challenge will come from Niger. For several reasons. The Americans have a military base there. The French have a military base there. There have been no demonstrations on the streets. The anti-jihadist and anti-terrorist crisis in Niger seems to be on the low burner. So I wasn't expecting that the challenge will come from Niger. The issue that I find difficult to come to terms with and to answer is what led to this coup. Usually, with the conspiracy theorists that we usually have, there will be, by now, accusing fingers point at the usual suspects. France, Western countries, Wagner Group. But the more you confront these explanations, the more you find the loopholes in them. This was a coup led by a team which was an ally, a military team, which was not only a protective unit of the Presidential Guard, but also led by a general who comes from the same area as the president he has overthrown, and who was his ally. If it was France that was behind it, why are they burning down the French embassy? The Wagner Group is not on the ground in Niger, so it cannot be the Russians. And in any case, Putin had come on the side of the African countries to criticize the coup. So what has led to this coup? And I dare say I have no answer to that. Nevertheless, Ecowas has now taken a stand. Before we dissect the consequences of ECOWAS decisions, which will directly answer the question put to me by Dr. Abati, let me point out one thing. ECOWAS and African Union, even though they seem to be on the same wicket, actually they are not. Under the tradition of the African unity, something they copied from the OAU, ECOWAS is supposed to take the lead, and then the African Union will follow up. Instead, the African Union took the lead in responding to the issue in Niger. Why? This was something masterminded by South Africa to thumb President Tinubu in the face. It was an anti-Tinubu action by the African Union. Why do I say that the South African is behind this? There's a video that is going around which showed an analysis on South African television station, which blames Tinubu for the coup in Niger, that it is because President Tinubu is illegitimate, because his election is contentious, etc., that the coup had happened. Now, this is coming from a nation where their president has an anti-corruption charge still hanging around his neck, and which the majority view, the majority party, the ANC, in parliament, he had used to overturn the decision of a judicial panel which had found him guilty of corruption. This is coming from the same South Africa that is now blaming President Tinubu. So the AU stepped quickly into the breach in order simply to thumb President Tinubu in the face. Now, Ecowas has now put itself, if you want to put it that way, by now imposing a 7-day limit for a reaction, while African Union gave them 15 days, creating a hiatus that, if you like, the Niger regime can exploit by saying we will listen to the African Union rather than the Ecowas. We should keep that in mind because, in fact, the problem for Ecowas is not being posed by the Western countries, it's being posed by the African Union, being instigated by South Africa. Now, we have the decisions taken by Ecowas yesterday, and it's as blunt as they come. Dr. Abati has said what is different here that did not happen in Mali, Burkina Faso. So, I mean, I spotted two things immediately. Probably there will be more. The first thing is, usually, when you give an ultimatum, you wait for the ultimatum to expire before you impose sanctions. So you give them those 7 days of grace. ECOWAS didn't do that. And so this is different from what they did in those other countries. They imposed immediately sanctions without waiting for the 7 days to expire. And this is sending the signal that we mean business. Number two is saying we don't roll out military action. Once you said that, you've boxed yourself in, ECOWAS has boxed itself into a corner. Because after 7 days, if the regime does not change its mind, then ECOWAS will have to embark on military action. What are the chances that two questions. The first one is the military regime likely to change its mind? You know, as a diplomat,
yes, sir,
I would have advised that you don't box a government into a corner where it will lose face in its reaction to whatever you put before it.
Right.
And in this case, I agree with Rufai that behind the scenes, behind the chairs, diplomatic actions should be taking place. And I don't rule out that that is taking place. They are not going to tell us it is taking place. Diplomacy doesn't work that way. Some actions you will be told. Some actions you will not be told.
All right.
A signal to the regime that they mean business. Sorry?
Yes, Professor Akinyemi. I was just going to ask you now, and thanks so much for saying that. Can I ask, I'd like to interject at this point to ask you with regards to, in the event that whether it is overt or covert diplomatic conversations are going on between ECOWAS and the junta, what happens if it falls through and they don't agree at the end of the 7 days ultimatum? Number one, what's the cost? What would the cost of war look like? We had shared earlier around the fact that Nigeria would potentially bear majority of the cost of the war, because when you look at the ECOWAS region, we are strongest in terms of military might and capital. What would be the cost? And beyond capital, it's also the cost for Nigerians themselves. The humanitarian cost of a war at this time, can we afford it? Or well, perhaps not a war, but at least a military intervention in Niger. Can we afford it?
Well, You see, make up your, this is part of, that's why I start.
So guys, thank you so much for watching. What do you think about this video? Please kindly drop your thought on the comment section. I'll see you again in my next one. Bye for now.